This is easy money. I laughed. Then the dealer took $7,400 from me. My name is Marcus. I'm 37, a construction supervisor, and I sleep in a studio apartment with a folding table now. 9 months ago, I had a house with a big kitchen and my twins' basketball schedules on the fridge. People see me installing drywall at the casino and wonder how I ended up building the place that broke me. It didn't start with that 7,000. It started with $800 and a winning streak that made me feel like I'd found a loophole in the universe. The dealer's hands moved like they were sorry. My wife found the marker statements before I could explain. The twins ask why I live somewhere else now. I worked 2 jobs to pay back money that vanished in one night. That Tuesday in March, I counted out bills still dusty from the job site and told myself I'd earned some luck. Let me take you back to that table, to the moment I pushed everything forward on one hand. When a careful man bets 3 months of his family's life on a single card, what's he really gambling? The money or the people waiting at home? My name's Eddie, and I've dealt blackjack at the Riverside Casino for 11 years. Long enough to know every type of player who sits at my table. Long enough to recognize the exact moment someone crosses from playing with money to playing with their life. That Tuesday night in March 2003, I arrived for my 8 o'clock shift the same way I always did. Through the employee entrance, past the time clock that never worked right, into the break room that smelled like burnt coffee and disappointment. I hung my jacket in locker 47, clipped on my name tag, and walked onto the floor at 7:55. 5 minutes early, like always, the casino looked the same as any Tuesday. Not packed, not empty. The kind of crowd that made management happy but didn't overwhelm us dealers. I nodded to the regulars as I walked to my table. Mrs. Chun at the nickel slots, Tommy at the craps table already down 200, the divorced Lawyers Club sharing their third pitcher at the BAR.MY table sat in the mid-stakes section. Not the high roller room where they bet mortgage payments. Not the $5 tables where college kids learned expensive lessons. The $25 minimum tables where regular people convinced themselves they were being reasonable. I went through my pre-shift ritual. Checked the 6 decks of cards, fanning them across the felt to make sure none were marked or bent. Tested the automatic shuffler. It had been sticking lately, adding awkward pauses to bad beats. Counted my chip tray. Everything where it should be. Sal made his rounds at 8:30, same as always. He'd been pit boss longer than I'd been dealing, and he moved through the floor like he owned it. Which, in a way, he did. Eddie, how's the family? Good. Sophie's got a school concert Thursday. Beautiful. Table 7's been hot. Lady hit 3 blackjacks in a row. Keep an eye. That was Sal. Every conversation ended with an angle, a warning, or an instruction. By 9:15, I had 2 players at my table. A tourist couple from Phoenix, playing basic strategy from a card they'd bought in the gift shop. They were up $50 and happy about it, tipping me a red chip every few hands. Nice people. They'd be broke within the hour, but they didn't know that yet. That's when Marcus walked up. I'd been dealing to Marcus twice a week for about 6 months. Tuesday nights and Thursday nights, regular as clockwork. He was one of the steady ones, came in with 300 or 400, played smart, left when he doubled up or tapped out. Never drunk, never angry, never desperate. The kind of player who made me think maybe some people could handle it. But tonight was different. First, the time was wrong. Marcus usually showed up around 10, after the dinner rush at home, he told me once. But here he was at 9:15, still. Wearing his Brennan construction supervisor vest, still covered in dust from the job site. I could see it under his fingernails, in the creases of his hands as he counted out bills. $800. Twice what he usually brought. He stacked the chips in one tall pile, instead of his usual neat towers of 5. His wedding ring caught the casino lights as he touched the stack between hands, like he was making sure it was real. Long debt? I asked, shuffling for the next hand. Job in Henderson. Concrete pour started late. Had to stay until it set. He rubbed his face. Figured I'd come straight here, save the drive home and back. That should have been my first warning. Marcus always went home first. Always changed clothes, always ate. Dinner with Angela and the boys. He'd show me pictures. Tyler and Mason, twins, about to turn 10. Good-looking kids with their father's dark hair and their mother's smile. I dealt the first hand. Marcus bet 50, his standard opening. Hit. On 15 against my 6. Busted. Normal play, normal loss. But the way he immediately pushed another 50 forward, before I'd even collected the cards, that wasn't normal. The Phoenix couple colored up and left, wishing us luck. We didn't need luck. The house never does. Marcus won the next 3 hands. 2 20s and a blackjack. He was up 200, and something in his shoulders changed. They straightened, pulled back. His voice got a little louder when he said, hit, or stand. The dust under his fingernails glowed under the table lights as he doubled down on 11.21. He pushed a green chip toward me. $25. His hands were shaking just a little. Thanks, Marcus. It's all good tonight, Eddie. I can feel it. I wanted to tell him that feeling was the most dangerous thing in a casino. That feeling was designed, manufactured, and sold at a precise loss. Rate of 2.5% per hand. But dealers don't give advice, we just deal the next hand at by 10 o'clock. Marcus had turned his 800 into 3,000, and half the floor knew about it. That's how casinos work. Word travels when someone's on a streak. Other players drift over, pretending to watch while secretly hoping the luck might be contagious. Like standing next to someone with a fever and hoping to catch health instead of sickness. Marcus hit 4 blackjacks in 12 hands. If you know anything about cards, you know that's not impossible, just improbable. The kind of run that happens. Maybe once a month at a table that sees 10,000 hands. But when it happens to you, it feels like destiny. Man's got the golden touch tonight, said a woman who'd sat down at third base, betting the minimum, but riding Marcus's energy that he was. Talking now, really talking. Not the nervous chatter of a losing player or the grim silence of someone chasing. This was the conversation of a man who thought he'd figured something out. My boys turn 10 next week, he told the woman. Having a party at Adventure Landing. You know what those cost now? $300 just for the basic package. Doesn't even include the go-karts. Kids are expensive, she agreed, splitting tens like an amateur. I dealt her 2 face cards. Sometimes bad players get lucky too. Marcus showed me his phone during the shuffle break. Background photo of Tyler and Mason in basketball uniforms, both grinning with missing teeth. Getting their adult teeth now. Angela says they're going to need braces. Both of them. That's not cheap, I said, keeping my voice neutral. $5 grand. Each. He watched me shuffle. Insurance covers some, but still, that's a lot of overtime. Sal drifted by, the way he does when someone's up big. He didn't say anything, just stood behind me, watching, making sure the cards were clean, the deals were straight, the money was flowing the right direction, which, eventually, it always did. Marcus ordered a beer. Coors Light, same as always. But he didn't drink it, just held it between hands like a prop. The condensation ran down the bottle, pooling on the felt. I'd have to call maintenance for a table cleaning if he kept letting it drip. 11 o'clock. Marcus counted his chips. $5,700. I knew because he announced it, not loud but clear enough for everyone to hear. 5,700, he said, like he was testing how the words felt. The woman at third base had given back her winnings, and then some. She colored up and left, but not before telling Marcus he should do the same. Quit while you're ahead. Honey. Marcus just smiled and tipped me another green chip. Sal called Teresa over to deal my break. Marcus immediately pulled his chips back. I'll wait, he said. It's just 20 minutes, I told him. I'll wait. That's when I knew something was breaking inside him. Gamblers get attached to dealers when they're winning, like we're part of the magic. Like changing any variable might break the spell. I spent my break in the employee area, smoking a cigarette I didn't really want. Dawn from Slots was out there, talking about her son again. 3rd time in rehab. Oxy this time, after his back surgery. You think it ever ends? She asked me. The watching them destroy themselves? I thought about Marcus inside, counting his chips, waiting for me to come back and deal him more cards. No, I said. It just changes shape. When I returned, the table had cleared except for Marcus. He'd arranged his chips in one massive stack, like a tower, like a monument to something. The other players had moved to different tables. That's another thing about casinos. People can smell when something's about to go wrong. Like animals before an earthquake. Marcus's beer hadn't moved. The condensation ring had dried into the felt, leaving a dark circle. His phone sat face down next to his chips. As I settled back into position, it lit up with a text notification. He didn't look. Where were we? He asked. Your bet, Marcus. He pushed forward 300. The maximum bet had been holding at 150, but now he was accelerating. I looked at the chips, then at him. Construction dust had settled into the lines around his eyes. He looked older than 37. He looked tired in a way that sleep wouldn't fix. I dealt him 19. Strong hand. I showed a 5. He should stand. Basic strategy says always. Stand on 19. He stood. I flipped a 10, then a 6. 21. Shit. He whispered, but he was smiling. Good hand, Eddie. He pushed forward 500. You sure? I asked. It was all I could say without breaking protocol. Never been more sure of anything. I dealt the cards. Marcus got 11. Perfect double down hand. He reached for his chips. Doubling, he said, adding another $500,000 on a single hand. More than he'd ever bet in all his months playing at my table combined. I dealt him a 10. 21. I showed a 6, flipped a 10, then busted with a 9. Marcus had just won $2,000 on one hand. He stood up, sat down, stood up again. His hands went to his head, pressing against his temples like he was holding something in. Jesus, he said. Jesus Christ. Nice hit. I said. He looked at me. Then, really looked at me. For a second, I thought he might actually hear what I wasn't allowed to say. That this was it. This was the moment. Take the money. Go home. Never come back. Instead, he said, this is easy money. Then he laughed. Midnight came like a countdown nobody wanted. Marcus had $7,400 in front of him. I knew the exact amount because he'd counted it 3 times in the last 10 minutes, whispering the number each time like a prayer or a promise. 7,400, he said again, his hands moving over the chips. The construction dust had rubbed off onto the edges, leaving smudges on the reds and greens. Teresa tapped my shoulder. Break time again. I'm good, I said. 20 minutes, Eddie. Rules are rules. Marcus immediately started pulling his chips back, but I shook my head. It's okay. Teresa's solid. Better dealer than me, actually. That was true. Teresa had the steadiest hands in the casino, never fumbled a card, never miscounted a payout. But Marcus wasn't having it. I'll wait, he said. Same words as before, but different now. Desperate. Marcus, I'll wait. So I left him there with $7,400 in chips and a warm beer he'd never drink, and I went to smoke another cigarette I didn't want. The employee break area faced the parking lot. I could see Marcus's truck out there, an F-150 with a Brennan Construction logo on the door. There was a car seat in the back, probably from when the twins were younger, never taken out. That's how it is with kids. You keep things long after they need them, thinking maybe you'll need them again, or maybe just because removing them feels like admitting something's over. Dawn was still there, end of her shift, but not wanting to go home. Your high roller still at it, she asked. He's up big. They always are, until they aren't. She was right. I'd seen it 100 times. 1,000 times. The curse of the big win. It makes you believe the rules don't apply to you. That you're special. That the universe has finally recognized your worth and decided to pay out. His kid's birthday is next week. I said, not sure why I was telling her. Kids, Dawn said, lighting her own cigarette. My son's birthday was last month. Couldn't even call me from rehab. Weren't allowed phones for the first 30 days. We stood there, smoking, watching the parking lot. A couple argued by their car, the woman crying, the man throwing his hands up. Tuesday night at the Riverside Casino, when I got back inside, Marcus had rearranged his chips again. One tall stack, everything together. The empty chairs around him made him look like an island. Welcome back, he said, too bright. Ready to make some more money? I wanted to tell him we weren't making anything together. He was gambling. I was working. The casino was taking its percentage with mathematical certainty. But I just nodded and checked my cards. Sal walked by again, closer this time. He made eye contact with me, then looked at Marcus's stack. The message was clear. Deal whatever he wants to bet. Marcus's phone buzzed. This time he looked. Angela's photo flashed on the screen. He declined the call, turned the phone face down again. She knows I'm here, he said, though I hadn't asked. I come here twice a week. She knows. But knowing someone's at the casino and knowing they have $7,400 in play are different things. Like knowing someone drinks versus finding them passed out in the yard. Your bet, I said. Marcus counted out chips. 300, 500, 800. He kept adding, building a smaller tower next to the big one. Finally, he stopped at 1500. Let's do this, he said. I dealt. Marcus got a 12. I showed a 10. Basic strategy says hit. Always hit a 12 against a 10. But $1,500 makes you reconsider basic strategy. Marcus's hand hovered over the table. The signal to hit or stand. It trembled there, caught between options. What do you think, Eddie? You know I can't advise play. But if it was your money? It's never my money, Marcus. He hit. Drew a 3. 15. Still needed another card. His hand hovered again. The math says hit, he said. The math says a lot of things. He hit again. 4. 19. He exhaled like he'd been underwater. I flipped. My whole card. 7. 17. Marcus $1,300 pushed back across the felt toward him. His stack grew taller, more precarious. 7,400, he said, then caught himself. No. Wait. 8,900. That's when Sal came over, not passing by but stopping, standing right behind me where Marcus could see him. Everything. Good here, gentlemen. Everything's perfect, Marcus said. Absolutely perfect. Sal looked at the chips. Would you like to color up, sir? Larger denominations might be easier to manage. It was an offer and a suggestion and a warning all at once. Color up. Cash out. Go home. I'm good, Marcus said. These chips and me, we're doing just fine. Sal nodded and walked away, but not far. He stopped at the next table, pretending to watch that game, but keeping us in his peripheral vision. Marcus's phone buzzed again. This time he didn't even look. Probably. The boys, he said. They stay up late when I'm not home. Angela lets them. Tuesday night tradition. Dad's at work, so they can watch TV an extra hour. I thought about my daughter Sophie, probably asleep by now. Lisa would have put her to bed at 9:30, read her one story, maybe two if Sophie negotiated well. Normal. Tuesday night in a normal house where the biggest gamble was whether to check under the bed for monsters. Marcus pushed his entire stack forward. What are you doing? The question came out before I could stop it. One hand, he said. All of it. Marcus, $7,400, he said, not whispering now. Clear and loud, like an announcement. One hand. I looked at Sal. He was already looking at us. He walked over, slow but deliberate. Sir, that's a significant wager. Are you sure? I'm sure. Sal looked at me. I tried to put everything into that look. Don't make me do this. This is wrong. This is too much, but Sal just nodded. Deal the cards, Eddie. Marcus straightened in his chair, his dusty hands flat on the table on either side of where his cards would go. The whole section of the casino had gone quiet. Even the slots seemed to ding less, like they knew something was happening. I shuffled one more time. Unnecessary, but I needed the seconds. Needed Marcus to maybe, possibly, probably not, but maybe reconsidered. He didn't. I dealt the cards. Marcus. Got a 6. Then a 10. 16. I showed a 10. The worst possible situation. 16 against a 10. Hit, and you'll probably bust. Stand, and you'll probably lose. No good options. Only degrees of bad. Marcus stared at his cards like they might change if he looked hard enough. $7,400. 3 months of his family's life. Braces for the twins. The birthday party at Adventure Landing. All of it sitting on 16 against a 10. The book says hit, Marcus said, his voice different now. Smaller. I didn't respond. There was nothing to say that wouldn't make it worse. His hand moved over the cards. The signal to hit or stand. It hovered there, shaking now, visible trembling. Like an old man with palsy. Hit me. He whispered. I reached for the next card. Time slowed down the way it does in car crashes, and first kisses and last breaths. The card came off the deck. I turned it over. 9.25. Bust. The silence after a big loss has its own sound. Like the air gets sucked out of the room, leaving everyone breathing vacuum. Marcus stared at the 9 of diamonds like it had betrayed him personally. His hands stayed flat on the table, framing the 25 that had just cost him $7,400. 25, I announced, though everyone could see it. Protocol required me to say it. Dealer wins. I reached for the chips, all of them, that tower he'd built. My hands moved automatically. This was muscle memory, not choice. Stack them, sort them, pull them into the tray. $7,400 becoming the house's money in. 3 smooth motions. Marcus's face went through changes like time-lapse photography. Disbelief first, his mouth opening and closing without sound. Then understanding, his eyes tracking the chips as they disappeared into my tray. Then something worse, decision. The calm that comes when you've already decided to do something stupid, and you're just working out the details. "I'll be right back," he said. "Marcus." But he was already walking, not running, but moving with purpose toward the ATM alcove near the cashier's cage. His construction boots left dust prints on the carpet. Sal appeared at my elbow. "Deal to the empty spot, if anyone sits," he said. "He'll be back. Maybe we should deal cards, Eddie. That's what we should do." But nobody sat down. Word had spread through the casino the way it does. Invisible telegram about the guy who just lost 7 grand on one hand. People walked by slowly, pretending not to look. A few regulars shook their heads. One woman crossed herself. I shuffled cards for nobody, dealt practice hands to empty chairs. The ritual of it, keeping my hands busy while my mind replayed that. 9 of diamonds over and over. 20 minutes later, Marcus came back. $2,000 in crumpled hundreds, the kind of bills that had been hidden somewhere. Emergency fund, maybe. Or the mortgage payment sitting in an envelope, waiting. For the first of the month, he sat down hard, like his legs had given up. "Let's go," he said. "Marcus, maybe take a break. Just deal." So I dealt. 500 on the first hand. 13 against my showing 5. He hit. Wrong play. Drew a 10. Busted. Another 500. 20 against my 18. He won, but there was no celebration. Just grabbed the chips and pushed them all back. 1,000 now. Got 11. Good hand to double. But doubling meant putting out another 1,000 he didn't have. He just hit. Drew a 5. 16. Hit again. Bust. "Fuck," he said, loud enough for people to turn. Down to 500. Put it all out. Dealt him 17. I showed an 8, flipped a 10. He lost. The 2,000 was gone in 6 hands. 12 minutes. $333 per hand. $27 per minute. 45 cents per second. The math of destruction. Marcus left again. This time for 35 minutes. When he came back, his shirt was soaked through. It had started. Raining. March rain. Cold and mean. Another 1,000 in his hands. The bills damp. "From my truck," he said, though I hadn't asked. "Had it in the glove compartment." We both knew that was the last of it. The real last. No more hidden money. No more emergency funds. Just this $1,000 between him and the understanding that he'd lost everything. He played it slower this time, like he was trying to make it last. 200 a hand. 1-2, lost 3. Down to 600. 1-1, lost 2. 200. Left. His phone rang. Angela's ringtone. Some country song about coming home. He let it ring through to voicemail. 200 on the last hand. Dealt him 13. I showed a 7. Hit, he said. Drew an 8. 21. I flipped a 10. 17. Heat. 1. $400 in front of him now. Enough to walk away with something. Gas money. Grocery money. Something better than nothing money. He pushed it all forward. "Marcus, you could, all of it." I dealt him 15. Showed a king. He hit. 9. 24. Bust. The last of his money joined the rest in my tray. $10,400. All told. Gone. Marcus pulled out a pen from his vest pocket. The kind of pen construction supervisors use to mark lumber. "I need to sign a marker," he said. Markers are the casino's special kind of evil. Legal loan sharking, dressed up in paperwork and procedure. Marcus followed Amy to the cage, and I watched from my table as she pulled out the forms. The ritual of financial destruction, driver's license, credit check, employment verification. All to borrow money at interest rates that would make a mob boss blush. 2 in the morning now. The casino had thinned to just the diehards and the desperate. I dealt to an old Vietnamese man who played $5 a hand, same as every Tuesday. For 3 years. He'd outlast us all through sheer discipline. Marcus came back with chips. 5,000, the maximum his pre-approval allowed. His hands shook as he stacked them. "This is it," he said. "Win this back, go home even." But even wasn't possible anymore. Even if he won back the 10,400, he'd still owe 5,000 plus interest. The math didn't work, but desperation has its own calculator. First hand, $1,000 bet. Dealt him 12 against my ace. Insurance? No. Hit. 10. Bust. Second hand, 1,500. 19 against my 20. Loss. Third hand, 2,000. Blackjack. Finally something. 3,000 back to him. For 40 minutes, he rode that pattern. Win 1, lose 2. Up to 6,000, down to 3. Up to 4, down to 1. The grinding mathematics of house edge eating him alive. Come on, he kept saying. Come on, come on, come on. Like the cards could hear him. Like they cared. A security guard walked by. Pete, been here 15 years. He made eye contact with me. We both knew how this ended. 3:30 a.m. Marcus, down to his last 1,000. His shirt had dried, but left salt lines where the sweat had been. The construction dust was gone, rubbed away by hours of him touching his face. Running hands through his hair, he pushed the 1,000 forward. Dealt him 11, best starting hand possible. Double, he said, but he had no more chips to double with. I need another marker. Sir, I said, carefully. You'd need to go back to the cage for that. He looked at his 11, at my showing 6. Perfect double-down situation. The kind of hand you dream about when you're down to your last bet. Hold the hand, he said. Just hold it. I can't. But he was already walking to the cage. Amy shook her head before he even reached the window. I could see her mouth forming the words. I'm sorry, sir. Marcus argued. Not loud, not angry, just desperate. Pointing at my table, at his cards waiting there, at the 11 that would save him if he could just double it. Sal walked over to the cage. More head shaking. Policy was policy. 5,000 maximum until the first marker was paid. Pete and another guard, Domingo, moved closer. Not threatening, just present. Marcus came back. To the table, defeated. Just hit it, he said. You sure? You could play it straight, $1,000. Hit the fucking 11. I dealt him a 10. 21. I flipped my cards. 6 and 10. 16. Had to hit. Drew a 7. 23. Bust. Marcus had 1. 2,000 in front of him now. Enough. 2. He pushed it all forward. Marcus, deal. 18 against my 19. Lost $5,000 of borrowed money. Gone in 43 minutes. Marcus stood up, sat down, stood up again. There's been a mistake, he said. Check again. I'm good for more. I make 60,000 a year. Check again. Amy looked miserable, but held firm. Pete and Domingo moved in. Professional, but kind. Sir, we need you to come with us, Pete said. I'm not done. Yeah, Domingo said softly. You are. They didn't grab him, didn't force him. Just stood there until Marcus understood. He looked at me one more time. My kids need braces, he said, present tense. Not needed. Need. Like the need was sitting right there on the empty felt where $15,400 used to be. Then he let them walk him out. I dealt to empty chairs for the last 2 hours of my shift. The Vietnamese man had moved to another table. Bad luck to sit where someone had exploded. The cards came out automatic. Phantom hands to phantom players. The dealer always winning because there was no one to beat. 4:30 a.m. The cleaning crew worked their way through, vacuuming around the few remaining players. The rain had stopped, leaving the parking lot shining under the lights. Marcus's phone had fallen under his chair. I picked it up, planning to turn it into Lost and Found. The screen lit up, 43 missed calls from Angela. Texts I couldn't read without the passcode, but the previews showed enough. Where are you? Please call me. The boys are worried. Marcus, please. I turned it in to security. They'd call him tomorrow, or he'd come looking for it. Either way, not my problem anymore. Except it was 6 a.m. Shift over. I sat in my car in the employee lot, counting my tips from the night. $47, including the 50 Marcus had tipped me when he was winning. Blood money now. The sunrise hit the casino's exterior. All that fake marble and real promises of fortune glowing orange and pink. Beautiful if you didn't know better. I drove home the long way, past the good neighborhoods where Marcus probably lived. 2-story houses with basketball hoops and driveways. Lawn sprinklers already running despite the rain. Normal people getting ready for normal Wednesdays. No idea that a few miles away, lives were falling apart 24 hours a day. Lisa was awake when I got home, making coffee in the kitchen. Rough night? She asked, seeing my face. Bad one. Want to talk about it? No. She knew better than to push. 11 years dealing cards. I'd had plenty of bad nights. But this one felt different. The way Marcus had said it. My kids need braces, like. He was explaining something to the universe, making his case for why the cards should have been different. I went to check on Sophie. Still asleep, 7 years old, sprawled across her bed like she was making a snow angel in the sheets. Her room cost more in rent than some people made in a month. Her braces would cost $5,000 when the time came. Just like Marcus's twins. But I wouldn't bet her braces on 16 against a 10. That was the difference between Marcus and me. That was the only difference. 3 weeks later, I was filling up at the Shell station on Riverside when I saw the F-150 pull in. Same truck, but the Brennan Construction logo had been removed, leaving a ghost outline on the door. Temporary tags in the window. He'd sold it to a dealer and was buying it back at twice the price. Marcus saw me. I know he did. Our eyes met. Through the gas station glitter, and for a second I thought he might nod, wave, something. Instead, he looked through me like I was made of glass. Like I was just another part of the machinery that had processed him. Which I guess I was. He prepaid. For $10 of gas. I could see the amount on the pump. $10 in a truck that held 30 gallons. Living $10 at a time now. Inside the station, I grabbed a coffee. I didn't want just to kill time until he left. The kid behind the counter was talking about the Lakers game, how they'd blown a 20-point lead in the fourth quarter. Unbelievable, he said. They had it locked up. Through the window, I watched Marcus pump exactly $10, watching the numbers like they might give him extra if he concentrated hard enough that nothing's ever locked up. That's what I wanted to tell the kid. Everything can disappear in a single hand. 20-point leads, $7,400. Your kid's faith that dad knows what he's doing. All of it can go to 25. That night at work, Teresa from surveillance pulled me aside. Your boy Marcus has been calling, she said. Trying to cancel the markers. Says he was drunk. Was he? You know he wasn't. Camera shows him babysitting the same beer all night. The casino had him on video, sober as a judge, pushing everything forward on 16. No takebacks in gambling. No morning after pills for bad bets. May rolled in hot and mean, the kind of desert heat that made the casino's air conditioning work overtime. I was working extra shifts, trying not to think about Marcus every time someone pushed their whole stack forward. But you can't unsee someone breaking apart at your table. Wednesday afternoon, I got called in to cover for Big Mike, who'd thrown out his back. I didn't usually work day shift, different crowd, sadder somehow. Retirees burning through Social Security, unemployed folks turning severance in a hope that I was heading to the break room when I passed the cage and saw her. Angela Brennan, Marcus's wife, standing at Amy's window in a professional blazer that didn't quite hide the exhaustion in her shoulders. She was signing papers, her hand steady but her jaw clenched. Amy had that look she got when she had to deliver bad news wrapped in policy. These are just the dates and amounts, Amy said. I can't provide any additional information. Was there? Angela paused, choosing words carefully. Were there other people involved? Women. Amy's face stayed neutral. I can't comment on that, ma'am. Angela laughed, but it came out sharp. So just the money then. Just $10,000 vanished into these machines. $10,000. She didn't know about the markers. Marcus hadn't told her he'd borrowed another. 5. Turned their problem into a crisis with compound interest that I could see the papers from where I stood. March 18th, the date everything went wrong. Line after line of cash advances, marker signatures, timestamps on destruction. Angela was building a case for divorce, or maybe just trying to understand how a Tuesday night had turned into this. Is there any way to recover funds? Angela asked. If someone is clearly experiencing a gambling problem, the state offers some resources for problem gambling, but the casino isn't liable for, right? Angela cut her off. Of course not. She gathered the papers, tapping them straight like she was organizing evidence. Through the glass doors, I could see her minivan. Car seats in the back, Tyler and Mason's. Some basketball gear. A normal family car for a family that wasn't normal anymore. Angela turned to leave and almost walked into me. For a second, we just stood there. She didn't know who I was, just another casino employee in a vest. But something in my face must have given it away. You know my husband, she said. Not a question. I deal cards. Were you there? That night. I nodded. She looked like she wanted to ask something else. Why didn't you stop him? How could you take everything? Don't you people have consciences? But she just adjusted her purse strap and walked past that I watched her leave through the main entrance, past the slot machines singing their electronic songs, past the promotional banners promising millions, out into the desert heat where reality lived. Amy caught my eye through the cage bars. That's rough, she said. Yeah, the husband was in here last week. trying to negotiate the marker payments. Wanted to know if we could reduce the interest if he paid it off early. Can you? Amy shrugged. Policy is policy. That's what we all hid behind. Policy. The house rules. The system that said we could take everything as long as we did it legally, with the right paperwork, under the right cameras. That I thought about Angela driving home with those papers, trying to figure out how to explain to 10-year-old boys why daddy lived somewhere else now, why they couldn't afford Adventure Landing, why the braces would have to wait. June brought construction noise to the casino. They were expanding, 40 new table games, a bigger poker room, a high-limit slot area for the whales. Progress, Sal called it. More ways to separate people from their money. I thought, but didn't say. The expansion meant the employee parking got moved to the far side, forcing us to walk through the construction zone. That's where I saw him. Marcus, in a hard hat and tool belt, hanging drywall in what would become the new VIP gaming lounge. That he was thinner, the soft supervisor belly gone, moving with the efficient rhythm of someone who'd gone back to real labor. No more standing around directing crews. He was the crew now. That we made eye contact as I walked past in my dealer's vest. No words, just recognition. A slight nod from him, returned by me. Both of us acknowledging the cosmic joke of it. Him building the place that had destroyed him. Another guy on his crew, younger, maybe 22, was asking Marcus about something. Marcus showed him how to measure and cut properly, patient like a teacher. I heard fragments as I passed. Measure twice, cut once. Always. Especially when the materials aren't yours to waste. The kid laughed. Speaking from experience? Yeah, Marcus said quietly. You could say that. That shift, I dealt to the usual Tuesday night crowd. But I kept thinking about Marcus 50 yards away, building walls for future players to lose against. The same hands that had pushed 7,400 forward were now creating space for others to do the same. A regular Dominican Mike sat down at my table. Been playing here 6 years. Never bet more than 50 a hand. Discipline like a religion. Hey Eddie, whatever happened to that guy used to play Tuesdays? Construction guy, always talking about his kids. Don't know. I lied. Man had that one night, remember? Up like 8 grand. Should have walked. I told him to walk. Everybody should walk, I said, dealing him a 19. But nobody does, Mike said, standing on the 19 like a smart player. That's why you got a job. I won that hand with a 20. Mike laughed, pushed another 50 forward. The cycle continuing, same as always. End of my shift, I walked back. Through the construction zone. Marcus's crew was gone, but their work remained. Fresh drywall, perfectly measured and cut. No waste. I wondered if he thought about it while he worked. How many sheets of drywall equals $7,400? How many hours of labor to pay off a 40-minute disaster? The security office had a note for dealers. If Marcus Brennan attempts to enter the gaming floor, notify management immediately. Standard procedure for someone with unpaid markers who'd been escorted out. But Marcus wasn't trying to gamble. He was building the house that had beaten him. Sophie's spring concert was Thursday night at Madison Elementary. She'd been practicing Rainbow Connection for weeks, singing it in the shower, the car, over breakfast until Lisa and I could perform it ourselves from memory. But we arrived early to get decent seats. The auditorium smelled like floor wax and fruit punch, decorated with paper flowers the kids had made in art class. Other parents filed in, everyone with their phones ready, prepared to document childhood in digital amber. That's when I saw him. Marcus, in the back row, wearing a suit that didn't fit right. Too big in the shoulders, too long in the sleeves. Borrowed or thrift store, trying to look presentable for his boys. Tyler and Mason were in the third row with their mother. Angela sat between them and a woman who had to be her sister. Same facial structure, but harder edges, protective stance. The boys kept turning around, waving to different sections of the auditorium. Tyler waved toward his dad. Mason waved toward his mom, like they were trying to include both parents without taking sides. The concert started with the kindergartners, painful and adorable in equal measure. Sophie's class was third, second, and third graders belting out songs about friendship and seasons. Sophie saw us and waved so hard, she almost fell off the riser. Lisa grabbed my hand, both of us grinning like idiots. During intermission, I went for water. Marcus was already at the fountain, letting it run like he was killing time. Eddie, he said. Just my name. Acknowledgement that we existed in the same space outside the casino. Marcus. We stood there awkwardly. What do you say to someone whose worst night you witnessed and participated in? They're getting their braces, he said suddenly. Next month. Angela's dental insurance covers most of it. That's good. Yeah. He straightened his borrowed suit jacket. I'm working 2 jobs now. Construction and weekends with a moving company. Mostly evictions, which is, he stopped. Anyway, money's money. The bell rang for the second half. Marcus started to go, then turned back. Do you ever think about it? That night. Every Tuesday. Every time someone pushes their stack forward. Every time I see kids who look like Tyler and Mason. Sometimes, I said. He nodded and walked back to his seat in the back row. During the 4th grade performance, his boys sang some song about perseverance. When they took their bow, Tyler waved to the back row, Mason to the 3rd row, dividing their acknowledgement between split worlds. Marcus left before the concert ended. As he passed his boys' row, he touched each of their heads. Quick, gentle, barely there. Angela didn't turn around, but her shoulders tensed. The sister glared. The boys kept singing. July 4th weekend brought the casino's biggest promotion of the year. Freedom from debt, they called it, which took brass balls considering how many people were there specifically because of debt. The place was packed. Every table full, waiting lists for seats, slot machines singing their siren songs in harmonized chaos. American flags everywhere, like patriotism could make losing money feel noble. I was dealing at table 7, middle of the floor where I could see everything. That's when I spotted Marcus by the dollar slots in the back corner. Same section where the serious addicts went to slowly bleed out, away from the excitement. Just them and the machines in a toxic relationship. But Marcus wasn't really playing. He'd put in $20, hit the button twice for max credits, then cashed out $18, folded the bills carefully into his wallet. A ritual, maybe, or punishment. Coming back to the scene of the crime to remind himself what he'd lost. That MY table was full of a bachelor party from California. Loud, drunk, lucky. They were up 2,000 collectively and acting like they'd invented gambling. Easy money, one of them shouted, hitting a blackjack. God bless America and God bless easy money. I flinched. Across the room, Marcus's hand paused over the spin button, just for a second, then continued his mechanical rhythm. Spin. Loss. Spin. Small win. Cash out. Between hands. While the bachelor party argued about strip clubs, I watched Marcus count his $18 in quarters and bills. He fed them into a change machine, converting coins to bills. Then walked to a different machine, put in $10, played it down to 8, cashed out, folded the bills. Same wallet pocket. This wasn't gambling. This was something else. Penance, maybe. Or control. Proving he could walk into the casino and not lose everything. Like an alcoholic keeping a bottle of whiskey on the shelf just to prove they won't drink it. Dealers showing an ace, I announced, pulling my attention back to the game. Insurance. The bachelor party waved it off, too drunk to remember basic strategy. The groom, identifiable by his game over t-shirt, put another 100 on the next hand. For freedom, he slurred that I dealt. The whole party lost that round, but they just laughed and ordered another round of shots. Marcus moved to another machine. Same process. 20 in, play a little, cash out 16. I'd seen this before. People trying to gamble responsibly after disaster. Small, controlled doses of the thing that destroyed them. Usually didn't last. The control would crack, and they'd be back to pushing everything forward on bad hands. But Marcus had that look, hollow but determined. Like someone in recovery counting days. Point one of the bachelor party tried to tip me with a condom. Thought it was hilarious. Keep it, I said. You'll need it more than me. They laughed like I'd told the world's funniest joke. Marcus was at the cashier's cage now, converting his $16 to bills. All singles. He counted them twice, then left through the main entrance. Where's he going? The groom asked. We're just getting started. I wasn't sure if he meant Marcus or someone else, but I answered anyway. Home, probably. On 4th of July weekend? What a loser. I dealt the next hand. The groom got 2 aces, split them, got 2 more aces. The kind of luck that makes you believe in destiny. He won 4 hands at once, screaming, USA? USA, while his friends poured beer on his head. Marcus was probably in his truck by now, driving back to his studio apartment with $16 in singles. Tomorrow he'd hang more drywall in the casino expansion. Next week he'd move someone else's furniture out of a foreclosed house. Every 2 weeks, half his check would go to Angela for the boys. Every month, $200 would automatically go toward the markers, barely touching the principal. The bachelor party colored up and stumbled toward the exit, up $3,000 and convinced they were gods. Easy money, the groom said one more time, shaking my hand with his beer-sticky fingers that I wanted to tell him there was no such thing. That easy money was a story casinos told while they calculated your expected losses. That's somewhere, Marcus. Brennan was counting 16 singles because he believed in easy money once. But I just smiled and said, good luck, gentlemen. They'd be back. If not tonight, then next year. If not them, then others just like them. August brought monsoon season. To Vegas, sudden storms that flooded the streets and turned the desert into temporary rivers. The casino roof leaked in 3 places, right over the new expansion where Marcus worked. I watched him and his crew setting up buckets, putting up plastic sheeting, trying to protect the fresh drywall they'd spent weeks installing. Fucking typical, I heard him mutter as water dripped onto pristine white walls. Sal was screaming at the construction foreman about deadlines and water damage. The foreman, Brennan Construction, Marcus's father's company, kept pointing at the ceiling, like the weather was his fault. We're 3 weeks behind already, Sal said. Labor Day weekend is our second biggest, can't drywall in a swimming pool. The foreman shot back. Marcus kept working, not engaging in the argument. Just moving buckets, adjusting tarps, doing what needed doing. The same hands that had pushed everything forward now catching water in 5-gallon buckets, one drip at a time. That night, Teresa pulled me aside during my break. Your boy's been making his payments, she said. He's not my boy. Whatever. $200 a month, automatic withdrawal. You know what his balance is. I didn't want to know but couldn't stop myself. What? For $1,800. The interest is almost as much as the payment. I did the math. At $200 a month with the casino's interest rate, Marcus would be paying until 2008. Maybe longer. 5 years of payments for 40 minutes of disaster. That's legal. Teresa shrugged. Nevada Gaming Commission approved. 29%. APR. A customer sat down at my table, regular Tuesday night player, conservative bettor. I dealt while thinking about Marcus in the parking lot, sitting in his bought-back truck, probably eating a sandwich for dinner to save money. You ever feel guilty? The customer asked after losing a $100 hand. About what? Taking people's money. I don't take anything. I just deal cards. He laughed. Right. Just following orders. That stung more than it should have. But he was right. We were all just following orders, maintaining the machine that turned hope into house edge. Later, I saw Marcus at the employee entrance, tool belt over his shoulder, heading home after patching the leak. Rains should stop soon, I said. They always do, he replied. Then they come back. We both knew we weren't talking about weather. Late August meant back-to-school prep, and the casino ran a cynical promotion. Win your kids' school supplies. That brought in desperate parents hoping to turn $20 into textbook money that I was dealing afternoon shift when the new dealer's orientation group came through. Sal was giving them the tour, stopping at my table for a demonstration. This is Eddie, one of our veterans, Sal said. Eddie, tell them about managing problem gamblers. I kept dealing while I talked, muscle memory handling the cards. You follow. Procedure. Check IDs, enforce limits, call security when needed. Tell them about that guy, Sal said. The one from March. Lost his hole, what was it? I don't remember. I lied. Sure you do. Construction guy. Lost 3 months' salary in one night. Then tried to claim he was drunk to cancel the markers. Sal laughed. We had him on camera. Nursed 1 beer for 4 hours. The new dealers chuckled nervously, not sure if they should find it funny. What happened to him? One asked. Still paying it off, Sal said. Will be for years. That's why we have cameras, contracts, and collections. The house always wins, but some people need to learn it the hard way. I dealt another hand. The player at my table, a grandmother type, shook her head. That's someone's family you're laughing about, she said to Sal. Ma'am, everyone's got a family. Doesn't mean they should gamble the rent money. The grandmother colored up and left. The new dealers followed Sal to the next table, eager to learn the business of taking everything legally. That night I looked up Marcus's account again, violating protocol but needing to know. The payments were consistent, 200 on the first of each month. Never late. Never a penny more. The balance barely moved. But there was a note in the system from Amy in the cage. Customer requested payoff amount for early settlement. Informed total would be $5,847 including interest. Customer declined. $5,847 to clear a $5,000 debt. The math of legal loan sharking. Marcus probably calculated how many sheets of drywall that was. How many hours of hanging them. How many weekends of moving evicted families' belongings. I thought about the new dealers, excited to start their careers in gaming. How long before they stopped seeing people and started seeing statistics? How long before that construction guy became a funny story instead of a father trying to pay for his kids' braces? My phone buzzed. Lisa texting about Sophie's school supplies list. Can you believe how expensive graphing calculators are? No, I texted back. I couldn't believe how expensive anything was when you'd lost everything on 16 against a 10. September hit hard with another record heat wave. The casino's air conditioning bill probably matched a small country's GDP. Parents flooded in after dropping kids at school, seeking cool air and the chance to turn coffee money into fortune. Madison Elementary's back-to-school night was the second Thursday. I almost didn't go. Sophie was getting independent, embarrassed by parental involvement. But Lisa insisted, so we showed up to meet her new teacher and pretend to be interested in the curriculum. The fifth-grade classroom was organized chaos. Kids' artwork on every wall, desks arranged in collaborative pods, a reading corner with beanbags that probably violated some health code. Marcus was already there when we arrived, standing by a display of student work. The twins had drawn self-portraits for a Who Am I project. Tyler drew himself in a basketball uniform. Mason in a science lab coat. Both pictures showed two houses in the background, connected by a dotted line. Angela entered with her sister, saw Marcus, and almost turned around. But the teacher, young, enthusiastic, oblivious to the dynamics, waved them over. Mr. and Mrs. Brennan. Perfect timing. We're about to start the family tree activity. Actually, Angela started. Divorced. Marcus finished quietly. The teacher's smile flickered but held. Oh, well, that's very common. The boys can make two trees. Or one big combined tree. Whatever works for your family structure. The word structure hung in the air like a bad joke. What structure? The one Marcus had bet on 16? The one Angela was rebuilding with her sister's help? They stood on opposite sides of the table, helping the twins glue photos to poster board. Their hands reached for the same glue stick. Both pulled back like they'd touched something electric. That's the freeway, Marcus said, pointing to the dotted line in Mason's drawing. It's a bridge, Tyler corrected, so we can go back and forth. Sophie was across the room with her project, but I could see everything. The careful distance Angela maintained. The way Marcus's borrowed suit gaped at the neck. The sisters barely contained hostility. My dad builds stuff, Mason told the teacher. He's building new parts of the casino. How exciting. The teacher said that Angela's laugh was sharp as broken glass. Yes, very exciting. Marcus's jaw tightened, but he kept helping with the family tree. Two separate branches now, dividing at March 2003. Everything before that shared. Everything after split. Later, I overheard him in the hallway on his phone. I can work Sunday too, he was saying. Yes, I know it's overtime. No, I need the hours. October arrived with fake Halloween decorations competing with real desperation. The casino went all out. Zombie dealers, vampire cocktail waitresses, a monster jackpot, progressive slot that hit 7 figures. Saturday morning, I was off shift, getting breakfast at Denny's because Lisa had her book club and Sophie was at a sleepover. I liked the anonymity of Denny's. Nobody cared if you ate alone, reading the paper like it still mattered. Marcus was there, in a back booth with an older man who had to be his father. Same jaw, same hands, age 30 years. They had papers spread between them, legal documents from what I could see. I taught you better than this, the father said. His voice carried the weight of immigrant disappointment, the kind that came from building something from nothing only to watch your kid destroy it. You taught me to work, Marcus replied. I forgot the rest. Work isn't enough if you throw it away on. The father stopped, unable to say the word. Gambling. Casino. Whatever you called the thing that had taken his son, they were reviewing bankruptcy paperwork. Chapter 7 or 13, I couldn't tell, but the word bankruptcy was clear on the header. Marcus's father was co-signing something, his weathered hand shaking slightly. "This ruins my credit too," the father said. "I know. Your mother would be. She's dead, Dad. She doesn't get an opinion." Silence. The father signed where indicated. Precise signatures of a man who'd learned English as an adult and treated documentation seriously. "The boys. They're okay. Angela makes sure of that. And you?" Marcus didn't answer, just organized the papers into a folder marked legal in black Sharpie. They stood to leave. The father pulled out cash, exact change for 2 coffees and toast, no tip. Marcus started to protest, to pay his share, but the father waved him off. "Save your money. All of it." They walked out together but got into separate vehicles. Marcus's bought-back truck. His father's ancient but immaculate Corolla, the kind immigrants drove for 20 years through careful maintenance. I thought about inherited failures. How Marcus's father had probably worked construction his whole life, built a company to pass on, only to watch his son gamble away not just money but possibility. The American dream in reverse. Everything you build can disappear in one hand. My coffee had gone cold. The waitress offered a refill, but I declined. Went home instead to Sophie and Lisa. To the life I hadn't bet on 16 against a 10 at Halloween night made New Year's Eve look subtle. The casino transformed into a neon nightmare of fake cobwebs and real desperation. Everyone in costume. Dealers as vampires, cocktail waitresses as sexy witches, players as themselves, but worse that I drew the short straw and had to wear fangs while dealing. They made me lisp, turning 21 into 21. The players thought it was hilarious. I thought about calling in sick for the rest of eternity. Through the windows facing the construction zone, work lights blazed. The expansion had to be finished by Thanksgiving, Sal's orders, backed by corporate pressure. That meant overtime, overnight, whatever it took. Around midnight, between hands, I saw a figure in the construction zone without a hard hat. Marcus, but not working. Just standing there in civilian clothes. Looking at what they'd built, he entered through the main entrance 10 minutes later, still in jeans and a work shirt covered in drywall dust. He looked like a ghost among the costumed gamblers, which was maybe the point. Halloween, when the dead returned to haunt the living. Marcus went to his usual dollar slot. Fed in a 20. 3 spins, max bet. 140 on the 3rd spin. Immediately. Cashed out. Folding the bills into his wallet with the practiced motion of someone who'd done this exact ritual dozens of times. He passed my table on the way out. Nodded. I nodded back, fangs making me look ridiculous. "Nice costume," he said. "I'm a vampire who takes your money. So just yourself then." We both almost smiled. Then he was gone, back to the construction zone, where he was building the house that had already beaten him. A woman at my table, dressed as Lady Luck, subtle, asked for a hit on 17. "You sure?" I asked through the plastic fangs. "It's Halloween. Night for bad decisions." I dealt her a 4. 21. She screamed with delight, tipped me a green chip. See? Sometimes terrible choices work out. Sometimes. But not for Marcus on March 18th. Not when it mattered. The house edge didn't care about costumes or holidays or the fact that someone's kids needed braces. It just ground on, patient as death, certain as mathematics. Later, during my break, I stood outside watching the construction crew through the fence. Marcus was back in his hard hat, hanging drywall at 2 a.m., earning overtime to pay off the markers, building the room where someone else would lose everything. The cycle continuing, perfect and terrible, forever and ever. Amen. Thanksgiving meant time and a half and turkey dinners for anyone who played 4 hours. The casino's attempt at family values. Come lose your money, we'll feed you. Marcus wasn't there, which felt like progress. First holiday he'd missed since I'd known him. The expansion was nearly done, just detail work left, so maybe he had the day off. Maybe he was with the boys that I dealt to the holiday regulars. People with nowhere else to go, or worse, people avoiding where they should go. Divorce papers fresh, family feuds festering, or just the ordinary loneliness of American life that felt sharper on days when everyone else seemed to have somewhere better to be. "Happy Thanksgiving, Eddie," said Vietnamese Mike, sitting down with his usual $50 buy-in. "You too, Mike. My daughter wanted me to come to dinner," he said, placing his bet. "But her husband's family would be there, and they look at me like I'm contagious." "Why's that?" "Because I come here." He laughed. They think it's a sickness. Maybe they're right. I dealt him 20. He stayed. I showed 18. He won. See, not sick. Just lucky. Around 8 p.m., during a lull, another regular mentioned seeing Marcus at Safeway. That construction guy who used to play Tuesdays? Saw him buying one of those pre-cooked turkey breasts. Had his kids with him. They were arguing about stuffing versus mashed potatoes. Yeah. I kept my voice neutral. He looked rough. Thin. That. Divorce hit him hard, huh? Wouldn't know. Come on, Eddie. We all saw that night. 7 grand on one hand. That's divorce territory. I dealt cards and said nothing. But the image stuck. Marcus in the Safeway, choosing the smallest turkey they sold. The boys debating side dishes for a meal they'd eat in a studio apartment instead of their house. Through the casino windows, I could see the apartment complex, where Section 8 housing mixed with working poor. 3rd floor, facing the casino. One window lit up around 8:30. Could have been anyone. But I knew it was Marcus and the twins, eating Thanksgiving dinner on a folding table, the casino lights bleeding through their window like neon judgment. You okay, Eddie? Vietnamese Mike asked. Yeah. What? You're dealing slow. And you keep looking out the window. I sped up, focused on the cards. But I couldn't stop thinking about that lit window. 3 people sharing a pre-cooked turkey, trying to make it feel like a holiday instead of evidence of everything they'd lost. December 15th, grand opening for the expansion. Media tours, ribbon cutting, free champagne for players, the whole circus. 40 new table games ready to extract money more efficiently than ever. Marcus was there with his crew, installing last-minute fixtures while reporters walked through. I was dealing at one of the promotional tables. Play 20 hands, get a free t-shirt that said, I expanded my luck at Riverside Casino. Corporate humor at its worst. A reporter from Channel 8 stopped at my table with her cameraman. How long have you been dealing here? She asked, mic in my face. 11 years. You must have seen a lot of changes. The games stay the same. Just more of them now. She laughed like I'd said something clever. Do you ever feel bad when people lose? Before I could answer, a crash echoed through the expansion. Everyone turned. Marcus stood over a drop drill, the bit scattered across the new carpet. Sorry, he called out. Butterfingers. But I'd seen him work. Those hands didn't drop tools. That was intentional, though I couldn't say why. A protest? A distraction? A moment of being seen in a place designed to make workers invisible? Reporter had already moved on, interviewing Sal about expected revenue increases. Marcus picked up his drill, went back to work. When our eyes met across the room, he nodded. Later, after my shift, I found something in my tip jar besides chips. And cash. A folded piece of paper, Marcus's handwriting. The house always wins. We both knew that. I looked for him, but the construction crew had gone. Just their work remained. Perfect walls, pristine carpet, new felt-on tables that would soon be covered. In other people's last hopes, the note wasn't accusation or absolution, just acknowledgement. We both knew how the story would end when he sat down that night in March. The only surprise was how fast it happened. $7,400 becoming zero in the time it takes to flip a 9. I kept the note. Still have it. A reminder that knowing the odds doesn't stop people from playing them. That the house always wins isn't a warning, it's a promise. And promises, unlike luck, are reliable. 3 days before Christmas, I saw them at the dollar. Slots. Not just Marcus this time. Tyler was with him, wearing his Madison Middle basketball uniform. They were killing time before a game, Marcus explaining something about odds while feeding quarters into the machine. See, you bet 1 credit, you can win 10. But you bet 3 credits, you can win the progressive. What's progressive? Tyler asked. Means it keeps growing until someone wins it. So bet 3. No. Marcus's voice was firm. You bet the minimum. Always. And you set a limit before you start. He handed Tyler $5 in quarters. This is it. When it's gone, we're done. Tyler fed the machine, pulled the handle. Old school kid, liked the physical action over the buttons. 3 cherries lined up. I won. Tyler shouted. $3, Marcus said. You're up 3. Want to keep playing or cash out? Play more. Okay. But remember, the longer you play, the more likely you lose. Tyler played 4 more spins, won. Another $1, lost 2. Marcus watched without intervening, letting the lesson teach itself. I'm down to $4, Tyler said. You started with 5. You could leave down $1. Or keep playing and maybe lose it all. Tyler thought about it, really considered it, which was more than most adults did. Cash out, he decided. Marcus smiled, the first real smile I'd seen from him since before March. They collected $4 in quarters from the machine. Walking past my table toward the exit, Tyler recognized me from school events. "Hey, that's Sophie's dad," he told Marcus. Marcus looked at me. Really looked, for the first time since that night. Then he mouthed 2 words. "Thank you." For what? For dealing the cards that destroyed him? For not making it worse? For being a witness to his ruin and recovery? I nodded, kept dealing. But I watched them leave through the casino's main entrance. Marcus's hand on Tyler's shoulder, guiding him away from the machines, toward the door, into the parking lot where a basketball game waited. That's the last image I have of them together. 2 figures walking away from the casino's glow towards something else. A gymnasium, a game, a chance for Tyler to learn what his father paid $7,400 to understand. The house always wins, but you don't have to play. 6 months later, I still deal cards. Still watch people push everything forward on bad hands. Still sweep away their money with practiced efficiency. Marcus still comes in occasionally, plays his $20, cashes out 18 or 16 or whatever's left. We nod. We don't talk. But sometimes, when someone new sits down with that dangerous confidence, that easy money gleam in their eyes, I deal a little slower. Announce the totals a little louder. Give them an extra second to think that it's not enough. It's never enough. But it's something. The house always wins. We both knew that. We all know that. But knowledge and wisdom are different things, and wisdom costs whatever you have to lose. For Marcus, that was $7,400, a marriage, a house, and 5 years of payments on a 40-minute mistake. For me, it's the weight of watching every Tuesday and Thursday, as new faces become old stories, as hope becomes math, as easy money reveals its price, that I shuffle the cards. I deal the next hand. The cycle continues.